Alright guys, so today we're going to be comparing the Godox SL60W versus the Nanlite FS-150 to find out which is actually the better light. Now, the Godox SL60W has been like the go-to light for most YouTubers, but honestly, I think that the FS-150 is going to take over that title in 2021. How's it going, guys? My name is Andrew Murphy from Down Under in Gold Coast, Australia. So like every other content creator in the world, I originally got myself a Godox SL60W. Well, actually, I got 3 of them when I first got my first lighting setup. Number 1, because they're super duper cheap, and number 2, well, they're just cheap. That's the main reason why I got it. But now that the Godox SL60W is quite a few years old now, and since then obviously technology has developed, more stuff's come out, the FS-150's come out, and I think the FS-150 is a hell of a lot better, and it's only slightly more expensive. So now let's actually compare the specs side by side so you can see which one is the best bang for buck, and then later on I'll show you some side by side lighting comparisons as well, so you can see the difference for yourself. And also stick around to the end because I'll show you a super simple way to get beautiful soft lighting without needing any modifiers at all. Alright, so putting these two side by side, the first thing we notice is the price. So the Godox SL60W retails from anywhere from 189 to 249 Australian dollars, depending on where you actually get it from. Whereas the Nanlite FS-150 goes for about 305 to 349 Australian dollars. So the price difference can be anywhere from $56 to $160 in Australian dollars, depending on like where you are shopping. But for the sake of this video, if we just compare between like a single supplier, the price difference is 110 Australian dollars or 85 US dollars. Now, as for power output, this is where it gets really interesting because the Godox SL60W puts out 60 watts of power at 100%, whereas the Nanlite FS-150 puts out 180 watts at 100%, which is actually triple the amount of light output. The Godox SL60W has a CRI of less than 95 and a TLCI of less than 90, whereas the Nanlite FS-150 has a CRI of 96 and a TLCI of 98. So straight away we can tell the Nanlite FS-150 is going to give us much more color accurate colors on the camera. And where you'll notice this the most is with skin tone. So with a lower CRI and TLCI light, you'll have to like tweak your colors a little bit more to adjust for those inaccuracies when you're actually trying to get true skin tones and true colors. Now, one benefit of the SL60W is that it actually comes with a remote in the box, which is really good. Whereas with the Nanlite FS-150, you have to buy an additional remote, which is 39 Australian dollars. But a downside of the Godox remote is that you can only dim it to minimum 10%, whereas obviously on the Nanlite one, you can dim it all the way to 0, and you have a lot more control for other lights as well. Plus, as an added bonus on the FS-150, it has 11 built-in effects, so you got like storm, TV, paparazzi, fire, and a whole bunch of other ones. And finally, the SL60W weighs just 1.61 kilograms, while the FS-150 weighs 2.27 kilograms. Right, so now we've got all these specs out of the way, let's actually put these side by side in a practical situation so you can see visually what the difference is. So I just set up a basic scene with a few windows so we can try a balance to the outside light. Right, so this first shot is using no lights at all. We're just exposing for the outside light, which is the light that we can't control. And you should really always do this because if you're blowing out highlights, it just doesn't look as good, doesn't look as professional. And I can show you what it does look like. So this is using no lights and we're just exposing for my skin tone and everything's just blown. It just looks so gross. So now for the actual key light, I just had a stripped softbox to the right of the camera. And this is with the Godox SL60W at 100% brightness. Now you can see that it is doing a pretty good job to balance with the outside light, but it is a little bit dim, and this is very, very close to me as well. Now switching to the Nanlite FS-150 at 100% brightness, you can immediately see the difference that extra power makes. And with this, we can actually now expose our skins to balance with the outside daylight as well. And now as a comparison, this is the SL60W at 100% next to the FS-150 at 35% brightness. Now, a massive thing that everyone always asks me about is fan noise, because when you're shooting, say, like an interview or something, you don't want to be able to hear the fan noise from your light because that can become an issue. So here is the fan noise of both the lights in the room that I was actually filming in. Now before I give you my final opinion on these two lights, I'll quickly show you a way to get beautiful soft light just like this without using any modifiers. So what I've actually done to get this look without any modifiers whatsoever is I've taken the FS-150 at 100% and I've turned it around to the wall just to the right of it, and I've basically shone it straight into the wall and bounced it around the room. And what that actually does is it basically fills out the room, adds some ambience, but it also makes whatever that wall is right next to it a giant light source essentially. So it kind of acts like it's a giant softbox and it gets this kind of look. So if you don't have any lighting modifiers, then definitely try bouncing light off walls or off ceilings. Just make sure that the ceiling or the walls are white, because if it's not, you're gonna get some really funky colors going on. So as an honest opinion, as a Godox SL60W fanboy for so many years, like I used it for 4 years or something, but honestly the FS-150 is such a better option, like if you're wanting a more powerful light, more color accurate, and you don't want to also break the bank as well. For an extra 50% in price, give or take, you're getting basically 3 times the amount of output, a much higher CRI and TLCI, so you can reproduce colors much more accurately, and you're also getting those built-in effects as well. Like, there's just so many more ways that you can actually use this light. Right guys, if you did enjoy this video, then consider liking and subscribing. If you want to find out more about either of these lights and where to buy them, I'll leave some links down below. And as always guys, stay creative and just be you. Have fun.